Tournai, known in Dutch as Doornik, is a Walloon city and municipality of Belgium located 85 kilometers west-southwest of Brussels, on the river Scheldt, in the province of Hainaut. Tournai is part of the Eurometropolis Lille-Kortrijk-Tournai, which had 2,155,161 residents in 2008. Along with Tongerien, Tournai is the oldest city in Belgium and it has played an important role in the country's cultural history. Geography. Tournai is located in the Wallonia region of Belgium, at the southern limit of the Flemish Plain, in the basin of the river Scheldt. Administratively, the town is part of the province of Hainaut, itself part of Wallonia. It is also a municipality that is part of the French-speaking community of Belgium. Tournai has its own arrondissements, both administrative and judicial. Its area of 213.75 square kilometers makes it the largest municipality in size in Belgium. It is also the largest in population in Western Hainaut. The municipality of Tournai consists of the former municipalities of Aire, Saint-Maur, Orcq, Espelchen, Froynis, Froidmont, Willemue, Ramegnies Chin, Tempelouve, Cher-CQ, Blandine, Hatane, Lamaine, Marquine, Gaurain Ramacroix, Havanus, Bekeles, Thimogis, Bari, Mulder, Vaux, Vezin, Caen, Mels, Cortus, Rumelies, Mont Saint-Aubert, Morcourt and Warschen. Geology. Rocks from the Tournai area date from the Carboniferous period and have been used to define the Tournai age, a subdivision of the Carboniferous lasting from 359 to 345 million years ago. Tournai stone is a dark limestone which takes a polish and was used particularly in the Romanesque period for sculpted items such as Tournai fonts. It is also hard enough to have been used locally for pavements and curbstones. It is sometimes called Tournai marble, though this is geologically inaccurate. History. Tournai, known as Tournai, was a place of minor importance in Roman times. A stopping place where the Roman road from Cologne on the Rhine to Boulogne on the coast crossed the river Scheldt. It was fortified under Maximian in the 3rd century AD, when the Roman lines was withdrawn to the string of outposts along the road. It came into the possession of the Salian Franks in 432, under King Childeric I, whose tomb was discovered there in 1653. Tournai was the capital of the Frankish Empire. In 486, Clovis moved the center of power to Paris. In turn, a native son of Tournai, Eleutherius, became bishop of the newly created bishopric of Tournai, extending over most of the area west of the Scheldt. After the partition of the Frankish Empire by the treaties of Verdun and of Meissen, Tournai remained in the western part of the empire, which in 987 became France. The city participated in 11th century rise of towns in the Low Countries, with a woolen cloth industry based on English wool, which soon made it attractive to wealthy merchants. An ambitious rebuilding of the cathedral was initiated in 1030. The commune's drive for independence from the local counts succeeded in 1187, and the city was henceforth directly subordinated to the French crown, as the Seigneurie de Tournaisis, as the city's environs are called. The stone Pont des Trous over the Scheldt, with defensive towers at either end, was built in 1290, replacing an earlier wooden structure. During the 15th century, the city's textile trade boomed and it became an important supplier of tapestry. The art of painting flourished too. Jacques Dert, Robert Campin and Rogier van der Weyden all came from Tournai. It was captured in 1513 by Henri VIII of England, making it the only Belgian city ever to have been ruled by England. It was also represented in the 1515 Parliament of England. The city was handed back to French rule in 1519, following the Treaty of London. In 1521, Emperor Charles V added the city to his possessions in the Low Countries, leading to a period of religious strife and economic decline. During the 16th century, Tournai was a bulwark of Calvinism, but eventually it was conquered by the Spanish governor of the Low Countries, the Duke of Parma, following a prolonged siege in 1581. After the fall of the city, its Protestant inhabitants were given 1 year to sell their possessions and emigrate, a policy that was at the time considered relatively humane, since very often religious opponents were simply massacred. 1 century later, in 1668, the city briefly returned to France under Louis XIV in the Treaty of Aachen. After the end of the War of Spanish Succession in 1713, under terms of the Treaty of Utrecht, the former Spanish Netherlands, including Tournai, came into possession of the Austrian Habsburgs. In 1794, France annexed the Austrian Netherlands during the French Revolutionary Wars, and Tournai became part of the Department of Gemappe. From 1815 on, following the Napoleonic Wars, Tournai formed part of the United Netherlands, and after 1830 of newly independent Belgium. Badly damaged in 1940, Tournai has since been carefully restored. Main sites. Tournai is considered to be one of the most important cultural sites in Belgium. The mixed Romanesque and Gothic-style Cathedral of Notre-Dame de Tournai and the Belfry, considered the oldest in Belgium, have been designated by UNESCO as World Heritage Sites. Inside the cathedral, the Chasseé de Notre-Dame Flamande, a beautifully ornate 12th-century reliquary, gives witness to Tournai's wealth in the Middle Ages. Other places of interest are the 13th-century Scheldt Bridge and the main square, as well as several old city gates, historic warehouses, and a variety of museums. On Rue Bar Street Brice are two of the oldest private houses in Europe, dating from between 1175 and 1200 and built in the Romanesque style, while the Rue des Jesuites includes a Gothic house from the 13th century. As in many Belgian cities, there are a number of cafes and pubs in the Grand Place. In the middle of the Grand Place there are a series of water fountains, while the circular staircase to the top of the belfry can be climbed. There are several buildings in the Art Nouveau style. Culture. A French-speaking Flemish town, Tournai is a French-speaking town of Belgium. The local language is Tournaisien, a Picard dialect similar to that of other communes of Hainaut and northern France. Tournai belongs to Romance Flanders, like Lille, Douai, Tourcoing, and Mouscron. The city of Tournai was one of the greatest cultural and economic centres of the county of Flanders. Some traces can still be seen today. The Gothic choir of Our Lady's Cathedral is a precursory element of the Schalden, typically Flemish, Gothic art. The bishopric of Tournai was the religious capital of Flanders during more than a millennium. The tapestries and draperies of Tournai belong to the Great Flemish School of Tapestry, and Tournai was part of the Flemish Hansa of London, which also included the draper towns of Flanders. The St. Brice Church of Tournai, dedicated to St. Britius, is one of the first examples of the Halle Kerk style, so typical of the Flemish countryside. Some of the great Flemish primitives are from Tournai: Robert Campin, Rogier van der Weyden, Jacques Dert. Although Tournai is in the Flemish cultural area, it also possesses some treasures of the Mosin style. Indeed, the two most beautiful shrines of the cathedral, commissioned by the Bishop of Tournai, were made in the region of Liege by the artist Nicholas of Verdun. The shrines of St. Eleutherius and of Our Lady of Flanders. Those shrines testify to the opulence of the towns of Tournai and Liege during the Middle Ages. The shrine of Our Lady of Flanders has been called one of the 7 wonders of Belgium. Festivities. The Great Procession has taken place every year since 1092, with the single exception of the year 1566, when the iconoclasts considerably damaged the religious symbols of the city. This historic procession unfolds in the streets every second Sunday of September. The first Monday after January 6 is known as Lost Monday, or Perjury Monday. This tradition dates from more than 700 years ago. The wealthier city inhabitants used to prepare fastidious family dinners and elect a king. Today, the family dinners have expanded to wider groups and a rabbit dish is often served. People born in Tournai: Clovis I, first king of all Salian Franks; Gilles Le Musis, French chronicler and poet; Rogier van der Weyden, Flemish painter; Jacques Dert, Flemish painter; Pierre de la Rue, Franco-Flemish composer; Perkin Warbeck, impostor and pretender to the throne of England; Marbrianus de Rotha, Franco-Flemish composer; Charles Blount, 5th Baron Mountjoy, courtier and patron of learning; Isaac Lemaire, pioneering merchant of the VOC, the Dutch East India Company; Louise Françoise de Bourbon, illegitimate daughter of Louis XIV of France and his most famous mistress Madame de Montespan; Dinart Casterman, publisher; Piat Sauvage, painter; Louis Galaït, painter; Jean-Baptiste Mons, philatelist; Jules Barré, statesman; Georges Rodenbach, symbolist, poet and novelist; Hélène Dutrieu, cycle racer, stunt driver and aviator; Marc Quahaber, writer; Xavier de Gaeta, architect; Gabrielle Petit, spy for the British Secret Service during the First World War, executed in 1916 by the Germans. Gallery. Belfry of Tournai. The Cathedral of Notre-Dame de Tournai. Cloth Hall. Town Hall and Park. Town Hall. Aerial view of Tournai. Twin Towns. Troyes, France. Villeneuve-d'Ascq, France. Bethlehem, Palestine. Tarija, Bolivia.